Hi, welcome to the Grindstone Podcast with Shane and Cody. It's a big day because today is the first ever Grindstone Podcast ever.
It is. I'm excited.
Welcome. So you're probably wondering what the Grindstone Podcast is about if you haven't already figured it out. This podcast is basically just a conversation between a couple friends and our guests in order to gain insight and in order to gain motivation to achieve success, to be able to keep our noses to the grindstone.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. And that's something I think me and you both seek. You in the music world, me in the film world and the outdoor world. And that's all we're trying to gain is just experience and knowledge. And we're trying to do it through good people, good company.
I agree.
And I think this is going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So, I guess we could talk a little bit about how this got started officially. I mean, if people are watching this, probably, they're curious how this all got started. So, to start off, right, me and you are Thursday wing buddies.
Yep.
Grabbing wings.
We met through both of us have worked with a guy.
Yes. Yep.
Mark Justice
hooked us up. He's like, hey, you need to get a hold of this guy for video work. And, hey, Cody, you need to get a hold of this guy for some audio work.
That's right. And I remember when I talked to him, he's like, oh, you guys got to get hooked up. You guys could probably do some good things together. And I was like, yeah, it's whatever. So I send you a message on Facebook, and it takes you like 3 weeks to reply. Yeah. And I'd forgot about it. And it was actually because I was going to talk to you about a song with our television show, Antler Addiction. And I was going to talk to you about that and see what we could come up with because you were local. Well, lo and behold, it took you 3 weeks to call me. So I realized that you were just as busy as me.
Yeah, man, yeah. I feel bad about that.
No, you don't.
I don't, man. I didn't know who you were, I didn't know who you were.
You thought I was just some crazy fan that just wanted to.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that you know how it is, man. You get so busy, and what ends up happening is that inbox just gets flooded, and you don't mean to, but you end up just accidentally overlooking one. And I swear it's a rarity, what happened to you. But anyway, no, so me and Cody, we finally hook up, and as things unfold, basically what ends up happening is Cody is interested in getting some of my music for his TV show. And I was like, man, I would love to get you some of my music for your TV show, but even more than that, have you ever considered having a theme song written? Because I love your show. I love the theme of your show, Antler Addiction, No Cure. Man, I could work with that, I'm a country artist. I could do something with that. And so the idea was, hey, man, you want to do a theme song? You're like...
And I was like, absolutely. I met you at Tim Hortons, and I remember... we talked on the phone for a couple of hours the first time, and then the next time, then we seen each other, and it was like we had so much in common because I think just of how we're younger, we're in this young generation of entrepreneurs,
right?
And then as we just every conversation we would have, it was like every time we'd get together and have a conversation, it was about how we were grinding, just.
Right.
The steps that we were taking, and we would share that information with each other.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually we decide we're going to be Thursday wing buddies.
Yeah.
And that's the theme is like, Shane, hey, what do you got going on? And we're basically trying to, pick each other's brains and figure out how we can do better, what we're doing good, this, that, and the other. And eventually Cody one day texts me and he's like, hey, man, I have a great idea. Let's do a podcast. And I honestly, I think my honest to goodness response was, I was like, ha ha ha, yeah, whatever, And so I was like, whatever.
I know what I texted you. The exact words was, you might think I'm crazy. You might think I'm crazy, but I think we should have a podcast.
Yeah,
that's what I said. I said I think we should do a podcast. You might think I sound crazy right now, but in all reality, I think we were sitting at B-Dubs, and what stayed with me was we had this long conversation about how I got into the hunt industry and how you had come into the music industry and grown in the steps that you had taken. And I think what it was that you said, how did you say it? You said if someone could listen to these conversations, they probably would, their mind would probably be blown because there was some intense stuff going on at B-Dubs. I
don't know necessarily because it's any good, but
exactly.
But I think what it is, I was just saying, those are the kinds of conversations that I like to hear other people talk about, not necessarily because they have all the answers, but it's to me, I enjoy that. I enjoy talking to people and figuring out what they're doing, even if they have nothing going on for them, really, as long as, and here's the purpose of the podcast, as long as that individual is grinding, as long as they got their nose to the grindstone.
Keep grinding.
Because there's mad respect for anybody that is working hard, and it doesn't matter how much success they've achieved, because really, if you think about it, you think about this, think how many geniuses have never been recognized throughout history. The difference between
until after they were gone.
Oh my gosh, the difference between you look at so many of the world's great artists, the world's greatest artists. You look at how many of them died penniless.
Yeah.
And then it's not till years and years and years later that we
and
realize
everybody's like, he was a genius.
Right. Yeah. And I still hold to it. There are some geniuses out that that have been recognized, but I still hold that there's a really fine line between the Garth Brooks, Kurt Cobains, whoever, all these greats in every genre of music and every genre of art or every genre of TV.
The one thing that
there's a fine line between the guys who have made it and the girls who have made it, and the ones who died, penniless.
Exactly.
Really, and you look at so many people. Like I was reading this thing the other day on Iggy Azalea, or I think actually my wife was telling me, she was reading this thing where it was like Iggy Azalea came to America. If it's true, but so this says she came to America and everybody was after her right off the bat, and then her label, who was a major label, dropped her, and then everybody else thought, wait, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? So they dropped her, and then all of a sudden nobody wants her, and so it's like, man, what if nobody would have picked her back up? You'd have one of the biggest selling artists that's out right now that would be working, at Pizza Hut or whatever.
Exactly.
Who knows? Or maybe she would have went to college, but who knows?
And there's a lot of people down the road that we've both traveled. We've met a lot of successful people, and I've got a lot of friends that are successful. And every single one of them, there is no common denominator other than one fact: they never stop grinding.
Yeah.
And if you talk to them and ask them, they all say they never stopped grinding.
Yeah.
They just continued on no matter what. They just put one foot in front of the other and just kept going.
You're right. That is like, there are so few common denominators, but it's almost always one of them. And here's the thing. So I guess we should establish that the Grindstone, this podcast, is not only about the music business and the film business. It's just about life,
Life.
Because there's so much to be learned off all kinds of different people. Like, okay, for example, my father-in-law.
Yeah.
He's a social worker, and he writes columns and all this. But there's so much to learn, because the bottom line is he's really passionate about what he does.
Right.
And he's always working so hard, and so there's just there again. The point of this is to get inspiration and to get motivation to keep working hard. But we should go ahead and say with a lot of excitement that on today's podcast, we're going to bring in some clips from just a couple days ago. We were at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Cody, and Tammie.
Hey, Tay.
Yeah. My camera just
Tammie,
died again. Hold on. I think it died, dude. It's gone. All right, we cool?
Mm-hmm.
So what were we talking about?
So we're talking about Tammie.
We should probably address the elephant in the room. The camera angle just changed because one of our cameras died. But hey, that happens.
That happens.
We had big aspirations for multi-angle episode 2. Anyway, no, what we were saying was that a couple days ago we were at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame.
Met some great people down there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was a good experience.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. It was so good.
It was like, it was so different. We've both been involved in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was top 3 for me.
That was cool. And yeah, it was so cool, man. It was just neat because I think there was a vibe about the room too, because here all these guys and girls are getting inducted to their home state Hall of Fame.
And it was at Rupp Arena.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll get into how big of a Wildcat fan I am.
Yeah.
That's for.
I'm playing. Yeah, he's insane, man.
He's seen me pace the floor.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen the end to that win streak and Cody's little fit. Oh boy,
it was bad. It was bad. However, Tammie actually is trying to go to dinner with her husband here in a little bit.
Okay, so why don't you set us up? Who is Tammie?
Tammie is the editor of the Ashland Beacon, and Tammie is somebody that everybody knows. And if you don't know her, you should know her. She's great. She's wonderful, and she coordinates so many good things. She was a police reporter for a long time.
Right.
She actually did. She wrote stories on me whenever I was a police officer. Wrote stories on my dad.
Yeah.
If you've been a police officer in Greenup County or Boyd County, Kentucky, she's probably written a story about you.
Yeah.
But she.
Good ones.
She's always
good ones.
She's such a good writer, and she's always trying to find the good in a story, and she provides the public with something enjoyable to read. You know, she will take a story even if it's something that's horrific or terrifying, and she will pull out the goodness. And I've just never met a writer that can touch people like she does.
You know, I have to admit, because Cody introduces me to Tammie, and before he does, he says, "This lady is special." Do you remember that? Yeah. You're like, "This lady is special." You said, "I've never met someone who just has this unnamed, undescribable effect on people where they just they change." And you know, everybody builds up their friends. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Oh my gosh. So hence this story, we go down to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, and she was so gracious to let me tag along with you guys.
A month after you met her, she put you in front of them.
Oh my gosh. And so she goes down there and we're talking, and so we interviewed a lot of great guests. So over the course of this podcast, we're going to talk about our interviews with the Backstreet Boys, Montgomery Gentry, Halfway to Hazard, Clarence Spalding, who that name you probably know if you're in the music industry. He is the top manager in Nashville. He's huge.
He does some good stuff.
And then also Larry Corder, a monster. Larry Corder.
If you are from Eastern Kentucky, man, that's just so big, because he comes from a place of poverty, a place that doesn't have a lot around it.
Yeah,
and he was raised right down the road from Mr. Skaggs.
Yeah,
bluegrass legend
Ricky Skaggs. He ends up becoming a songwriter, a big songwriter. Has some great songs written.
Highway 40 Blues he wrote for Ricky.
Yeah, and we interviewed all these people. We also interviewed one of the board members off of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and get Tammie on the phone, because here's a story about Tammie. Tammie, you know, she's a female, and she was going to interview the Backstreet Boys, you know, and so she talks to them, and so Cody tells me she's special. She has this weird effect on people. I was like, yeah, whatever. And oh my gosh, hence the clip we're about to show you.
She was dancing.
She had them doing their signature dances.
Yeah, the lean and then the puppet thing.
You're about to see it. We're going to show you the clip here in just a second. But I'll never forget, because I mistook what she said too. She goes, well, what we all thought she said was, "Let's do the Backstreet theme." And they're like, "The Backstreet theme?" Like, wait. She's like, "No, the Backstreet lean." And all of a sudden, and there's that magical effect.
And they were like,
"Oh!" And there you go. For the next 5 minutes, they're dancing. The reporters like snapping pictures. Like, who are these people that have the Backstreet Boys party and like it's 1999? You know?
Exactly, right on the red carpet.
And then, and what's so cool is we got to meet all these people. We got to hang out and just talk, and it was so cool. And what we ended up finding was that it was a good time. There was good mojo with our crew, and almost everybody we ended up talking to and hanging out with. Once we got around to interviewing them, they didn't want to leave. You know, it was just good organic conversation. Yeah, and it was all on behalf of the Grindstone Podcast, and in this case, the Ashland Beacon.
You know, we just kept it real.
We kept it real. So let's call Tammie.
Let's call Tammie. Hopefully, she answers, because she is going to be upset. Mm-hmm. I need to put that on speaker, right?
Nope. Not speaker. Mm-mm. I got my technology in check. Yeah.
That's right. Getting it.
I love how you have it on your phone as Tay.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody.
Well, you got Shane here, too.
Hey.
You got Shane here, too.
Hey, Shane. I'm in the drive-thru at McDonald's.
No, you're not.
Need some coffee.
I do. Hook me up. Yeah, this is about gone. I need a refill.
Well, I hate to ask you this, Tammie, but do you have time to talk?
I do as soon as you let me get some coffee.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, man, we can't wait. Hey, so Tammie.
Because, yes.
It's a historic moment. You are live on the first ever Grindstone podcast, and we're building you up about how you got the Backstreet Boys partying like it was 1999.
Yeah, because we are amazing folks, right?
Amazing. All right. A quick break. When we come back, Tammie with her story about the Backstreet Boys.
And we're back, and we've got Tammie, which we told you about on the line. So, Tammie, let me ask you, can you tell us about your experience with the Backstreet Boys? Now, I don't want you to hold anything back either. I want you to tell me exactly what you think of your experience.
Does it have to be G-rated, or
you can make it whatever you want.
PG-13.
Well, I was telling them down there that whenever I met them, that I actually had Backstreet Boys in the boxes, which makes me sound, like a little strange. Like I never broke the seal. I keep them caged in their boxes. It was a special treat to see them out of their cellophane. No, you know what? I love the Backstreet Boys. So when I found out that we were going to be able to go interview them up close and personal, well, that's pretty much the best day ever. Because Backstreet Jack, oh,
yeah. All right, so we're about to play your clip, and so why don't you set us up? So, the Grindstone Podcast. Let's hear a little bit about. Obviously, you're like a schoolgirl again. So let's start off by hearing about all the giddy stuff you want to say about them, and then honestly, you asked them some really good questions. I actually got on my Facebook, and as I promised all the folks that follow me on Facebook who are so good to me, I said, hey, how about you guys give me a question to ask the Backstreet Boys and Montgomery Gentry, all these people, and you asked them, and I'll never forget as you were talking to them. The publicist was trying to say, hey, we got to move on to the next person, and they were adamant.
Because
they wanted to answer
that.
Right? They wanted to answer that question.
They wanted, yeah.
They did.
I'm not going to spoil the question that you asked, but you go ahead and tell about the Backstreet Boys, your experience, but make sure you talk about, because we're talking about the Grindstone, their answer to your question, because it was a really good one, and you remember what it was, I'm sure, but go ahead and tell us and the viewers about it.
Yeah, your listeners wanted to know where the Backstreet Boys, like when they were around 12 years old or something, where they saw themselves, where they thought they would be right now. And actually, Kevin, he told me that he was working on learning to play the piano. And, of course, Brian, who's the clown of the group, he was playing all-star baseball, doing his own thing. He was like a more sports-driven kid, but you can tell there's just like this great feeling amongst the two even today. They're cousins.
Oh, cool.
And, just Kentucky boys, just good Kentucky boys. They talked a lot to me about, just some of the things they did, and they're really not different from us. They like to goof off, play on the farm,
right?
Play with the horses.
They like to roll around in the mud.
We also do, yeah.
That is, that's cool. So, you meet a lot of people. Tammie meets so many people, and there's no difference between different types of people, but I would say if anybody's qualified to make a judgment of people, it would be you. You talk to a lot of people, so it's kind of neat to hear you say that you felt like they were real. They
were actually probably some of the realest stars that I've ever met. I think all of us, as we made that trip to Lexington, we all had a little bit of anxiety about what was going to happen going in. Because, we're just a small little reporters from up here in Ashland, Kentucky, and, this is like hero worship for me, getting to get Backstreet Boys, and what a dream come true. And immediately you could tell they're just like us, and they were willing to be my little puppets for a little bit. They actually
they did, didn't they?
Tell us about that. I told the viewers that you said to them, you said, hey, they thought you said the Backstreet theme, and you go, no, the lean.
And then you performed it. And then you performed it. You like bounced back, and you were like, the lean. And they were like, oh. And then instantly you could tell, like the look on their face.
Yeah.
They were loving it. They loved it.
That's the trademark Backstreet Boys dance move. I kind of about whenever you meet these people, they're kind of your captive audience as a reporter, so you have the ability to, ask them what you want at that moment. So, I kind of went out on a limb. There was another young reporter who was nearby me, and we got to talking about, like that dance move, and I was like, well, I'm going to ask him. All they can do is laugh at me, say no. I can tell y'all, they had 2 very serious bouncers in the room. Security guys.
Oh my gosh.
So,
that is an understatement, Tammie.
Out.
Oh my gosh. No, these guys were like Hulk Hogan meets Shaquille O'Neal meets like linebackers meets everything.
Shane, you and I are both well over 6 feet tall, and we're not skinny guys.
They dwarfed us.
They made us look small.
They had the earpieces and all. No, you're right. Like it was legit, and but they didn't come in at all. They just left you alone.
But we befriended them.
That's true.
We befriended them.
The big guy of the crew, the big man, if you will, he told me, he was like, I'm so glad that you did that. So glad.
No, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that. That's cool.
Yes, he was so thrilled that I had got them to show that other side.
But we were saying you have that effect on people for real. I've never seen anything like it.
Tammie,
I've got my friend Jeffrey, IEMJ McKay from Cool 105.7 sitting beside me right now.
Oh, really?
Ice cream night.
Nice.
Hey, can you tell him that we said hello?
Yes. The Grindstone guys said hello.
Oh, that's nice for him.
Hello. Yeah, like he has the pleasure of having DQ night with me.
Nice.
So,
I feel for him.
Yeah.
Yes. And when he got in the car, I had the top down, and he also, I have to say, did a whole like Daisy Duke thing, like he came into the car through the window.
She is. Remind me to never do anything like that around Tammie again, because she's going to get on the radio and tell people.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. On live radio, people find out who you are. So I was actually on the phone with this publicist in LA that I have just this great working relationship with, and he got in and he just got to hear all kinds of stories. So our DQ night was a little delayed because this guy's actually the representative for the Oak Ridge Boys.
Nice.
Which is coming to Ashland soon, so we're super excited about that. But, I guess my shift at the newspaper, I've really gone more towards the entertainment side. And so I spend a lot of time, talking to these really awesome people who have found a lot of success. A lot of people, just idolize these people. But, I think that my goal is to get them to the point where they're talking just like us. And
you have a calming factor. You have I don't know what it is, but when it's like, a lot of these people, they don't know who you are.
I'm the celeb whisperer. I'm the celeb whisperer is what I am.
But you know what? I think you can learn about this. So, because I think, we're trying to figure out, how do people gain success, and how do you, not make it big, but how do you move forward? So, I do think there's something to learn from you and that experience and just kind of the effect you have, so to speak. And I think that is that, truthfully, people respond to people who are real.
Exactly.
Well, and everybody's real. Everybody's real.
Yeah.
But the problem is we all think, oh my gosh, it's so and so. Let me put my best foot forward as just supposed to being you, because I think too myself from traveling quite a bit as a musician, and Cody's traveled for video stuff. You get on, you're traveling and you're grinding and all this stuff, and you're not looking for a stiff conversation where people are faking. You're just looking to, you're
just looking to chill out.
Yeah, you put that vehicle in park, you're ready just to chill. Yeah,
you're just ready to relax. And one thing, how do you define that for us, Tammie? I mean, define how because you're involved in so many things with so many people, and you do so much. And just talk about that. I mean, talk about your experiences with that.
Well, I think that, it's something you learn in time as a reporter. I remember being a really young reporter, and like my first interviews, I think the very first one was with Ricky Skaggs. And do you know, I really
Eastern
believe
Kentucky.
that he kind of talked. Yeah, he's awesome. He's kind of like our godfather of bluegrass music up in here nowadays. And, Ricky Skaggs was like one of my very first interviews. And I remember being extremely nervous to call up somebody like that. And, he dictated the interview and just made me feel comfortable. And I learned a lot from that when you call up these people, you just have a really, just a normal conversation like what we're having right now. And it makes everybody feel good. I think they're nervous as well. So I think in time you just kind of grow into yourself. And I was making the comment going in, go ahead and down to Lexington, but I wasn't really extremely nervous. I was just going to roll with it. And
you did, yeah.
I think everybody,
yeah. We did. I think it went well.
Yeah, everybody in the car was like, how could you possibly roll with that? We're getting ready to meet these superstars. But
the Backstreet Boys.
The Backstreet Boys.
But you did.
Shane,
you said that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Shane, I believe that your wife, your beautiful wife, she's quite a fan of the Backstreet Boys, too.
Yeah.
So, bless the guys' hearts. They were double teamed against two girls who love the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Sorry if we hurt your all's masculinity or anything Friday.
I just have to stop for a second. I got to stop you there for a second, Tammie.
Yeah.
Do you or do you not believe that Shane married up?
I'm sorry, Shane. I love you, man, but you totally married us.
His wife.
Yeah, man, that's no
For
kidding.
all you girls out there that think that Shane's pretty, his wife is way prettier.
Yeah, I'm married up. It's no lying. It's no lying.
And she wears the pants in the relationship.
Oh, you just went there on live air.
I did.
No, I can say she's
hair,
pretty.
Shane.
Thank you.
You have great hair, Shane.
Tammie.
Her hair is like 50 times better.
Tammie,
Wow.
you told everybody.
Yes.
You told everybody there. You were like, "This is my friend Shane." Everybody's like, "Hi, friend Shane," and they were like, the first thing you said, Tammie, was, "And he's got great hair." And they were like, "Yes, he does."
No, but you're right. Hey, but what you can agree with this, and I swear Cody would attest to this. I'm not just talking, but my wife, she's super cool. She's super cool.
She is super cool.
She's a good time.
So bright.
Yeah.
She's
yeah,
so
but
bright,
hey, but
and I
listen,
swear
I put my foot down. I put my foot down and I told the big security guard dude. I said, "Listen," I really did. I swear I did. I was like, "Hey, man,"
He's not lying.
with a little bit of a grin on my face, I was like, "Listen, I know you're a big boy, but I'm not leaving this room with my wife in here with the Backstreet Boys. You can't make me."
Yeah, and he just looked at you like, "Really?"
He looked at me. I was like, you never know.
First, he turned and looked at your wife, and he was like, "The good-looking blonde."
No,
Yeah,
but it was a good time.
She is like NASCAR wife level. I'm sorry, Shane, but
NASCAR
she is
wife
a NASCAR
level.
wife.
I never take her to
Yeah.
NASCAR races ever. No.
Well, you know why?
What's up?
Because if you took her to the pits, Shane, I love you, but
Dale Earnhardt
it would
Jr.
be
or
a
somebody
situation.
would. I know.
Tammie, let
Now,
me.
honestly,
Tammie,
you can tell Jesse loves Shane as much as Shane loves Jesse.
Well, that's sweet of you to
Yes,
let me
they're
off
in
the hook a
love.
bit.
They're in love, and she's beautiful.
Well, thank you,
Tammie, let me ask you a question real quick. Out of the entire experience, out of everybody that we met and we got to speak with, and the people that, and I want to hit on Amanda too. Amanda was great. She treated us wonderful down there. But out of all that, I know it was great dancing with the Backstreet Boys and whatnot. But out of everyone that you talked
It felt
to,
good to me. It felt right.
Yeah. And what's one experience that you got down there with somebody that stood out to you other than obviously dancing with the Backstreet Boys?
Well, I guess y'all have, I don't know if you've mentioned, I'm the Greenup County Constable as well. And so, law enforcement is something that's like really near and dear to my heart. I started my policing career at age 42, which is kind of unorthodox. And so I I have a bunch of like little brothers. My little brothers could possibly be my children. There's that kind of age difference between the law enforcement community in Greenup County, but it's really. I've met a couple new friends, Montgomery Gentry, Chad Werricks, and David Toller from Halfway to Hazard.
Halfway to Hazard, and that's Hazard, Kentucky.
Yeah, boy.
Yes, and Halfway to Hazard won the Humanitarian Award down there. Those two men are always giving. They give cool. And they give and give.
Oh,
and so cool. It's really important. We've been discussing getting them up to Ashland and doing, a really great benefit for Kentucky State Police for Shop with a Trooper. And those guys are going to be getting a phone call from me. I'm going to hold them to the fire because we have really we did some good discussing about making some great things happen for kids.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
I can't either.
I know. I feel like even though I met the Backstreet Boys on Friday, I feel like that visiting the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame induction is going to bring something even better back to this community and something for the kids.
You're right. There was something about the Halfway to Hazard guys, too, really, honestly. And I will say that there was just something, and you're right, there is just like...
It's that Eastern Kentucky
there's
thing,
a vibrance. It's an Appalachia thing.
Yeah, it's an Appalachia thing.
It's just like,
They're right on the tip of it, too, right there in Eastern Kentucky. That's right where, really where it starts.
Yeah, that like West Virginia, Southern Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee. I go to Nashville, it's the same way. People are just kind.
Yeah.
But, before we let you go, before we forget or you have to go, I think I want to tie this all into something that I think is really important about like your attitude and what we're talking about with you and just how you approach people. Why I think that's so important. And like you're living life. And when you're on the grindstone, you're always keeping tabs. You're making this like little mental scrapbook of all these things you learn from other people. And what I learned from that, what I've learned from you just so far, and I have a lot more to learn, is this. You're always worried about, or at least I'm always worried about when I meet that person. When I meet that person that's got a real big door that, I'm excited to knock on, like Clarence Spalding, who I met down there, manager for Jason Aldean.
You were nervous.
Oh, no kidding. I told him that. I said, dude, I'm more nervous and excited to talk to you than anybody in this place. But so when you meet somebody like that and you're just so excited, I think why it's important to kind of put the reins on like your communication anxiety is because when you talk to that person, they're interested in you.
Yeah.
They're if they're you know what I mean, but if a person's going to be interested in anything, they're going to be interested in a conversation with you, that person that's approaching them, and they don't want an act, they don't want this stiffness, they don't want you to ask the right things. They just want to talk with a person, and if you click, and if you don't, you don't. But what I noticed is you seem to click with everybody, which just kind of leads me to believe you want to talk to somebody and you want to be you. And I'll never forget on the way down, you were just like, you know what, I'm intentionally not planning on anything.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah. And I think that approach just, hey, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to do me. And it is what it is. And I think that is important because when you get to talk to that person that you're so excited to talk about, you want to show them you.
I think that we all need to be like a little bit more humble and gracious. And I think that honestly, even celebrities have that side to them. I know that it's not displayed like that all the time, but you just never know the path that's going to open for you unexpectedly. I have a story, I met my best friend unexpectedly, and he's law enforcement, and the very first thing he said to me when he met me and he found out I was police, he said, do you have a vest, a bulletproof vest? And he worked to get me one donated. And when I got up that morning, I did not expect that I would meet somebody who very well possibly will save my life, who will mentor me, who will care for me. And so, I think that you just never know as you enter each day, who's out there. God puts special people in your path. I believe Cody Fuller was put in my path. I believe Shane Runyon and Jesse was put in my path. And, I want to do good things, and if I have the ability to offer something a little more to make your all's lives more special, that's my job. I think as a friend and a coworker and a colleague that we all work together, because heavens knows, when I strap on that Velcro, when I go out, God put my best friend in my path. So, I hope that as a human being, I'm doing the same sorts of things. Those, when I go down there to Lexington, those halfway to Hazard and Montgomery Gentry boys from Kentucky have been put in my path in hopes that we bring, some great things to kids at Christmas time. So, I think that we should just all live, very thankful, humble existences and do the best for each other.
You're right, and you're right, and you're talking about how earlier you said, we went down there to the Hall of Fame, and you never know what we're going to bring back with us to help the people we know. Right. And I think you're right. I mean, you look, and I would never spoil anything that you got going on, but let's just say this: there could potentially be some great things that you have in the pipeline that's going to be great for here at home. And so, I mean, and it's just from your kind heart going out and meet people and people liking you and saying, what, this lady's real. And, I want to be involved with what she's got going on. And, I think when you tell a person, hey, I want to do something for kids for Christmas, or when I want to do something for fallen soldiers or for the state police or whatever it is, there's a difference between people who say, hey, I want to do this, because, we've all heard it. Hey, I want to do this for such and such. And, I hate to say this about anybody, but there are times where you kind of wonder the sincerity of it. And, maybe even they believe it, but there's a difference between your heart just wants to do that deed versus, you're just planning something for the sake of planning it, or, whatever. But, I think when people down there met you,
it's hard to count on people. It's hard to completely count on people. And it seems like the people that stay consistent in your life are the people that you meet. I'll give you Tammie for an instance. When I first met her while she was covering a story for Fish and Wildlife, and I was a deputy sheriff, and we were in the middle of this field. And I meet Tammie, and she's with Fish and Wildlife, and she's wearing these girly clothes and colorful and all this stuff, and she's got this little notepad with these big sunglasses. And as a police officer, the first thing I thought is, reporter, run, get in your car, leave. And Tammie stopped me that day. And within weeks, she had me writing. Right. And no one in my life
And may I paint the picture? Yeah. In the words of Cody Fuller, she is straight off an episode. For those of you, we'll post a picture of her. You'll see the video. But she looks like she came straight off in like the set of Legally Blonde or something. Yes. She's a trip. Yes. I love it.
And and when what she did is, nobody knew that like I had a creative side, and and everything that I've done in the past. How long has it been? 4.5, 5 years, Tammie, something like that.
Yeah.
Everything that I've done since then, and the steps that I took outside of being straight military and police, and who with my farm, everything outside of that, I credit to Tammie, and I believe that Tammie was brought into my life for
Cody, you're gonna make me cry.
Oh, come on, Tammie, you ain't gonna cry. I know you're tougher than that.
That's good media. Cry, Tammie, cry. No.
Send us a picture. Send us a picture.
Cody, I see something really special in Cody that maybe other people didn't see. I don't know if Cody's.
It was hard to see it.
Yeah. I call Cody my lefty posse because we're lefties.
I'm the captain of the lefty posse.
We have a whole. You're the leader of the lefty posse. So from the moment I met Cody, we've been like really just good friends, like really close, and I'm just so happy to see Cody. This is a new path, and it's exciting. Our daughter played tennis, and on a really high level. And you all talk about grinding, and that's kind of like what she was known for. What grinding means in like the sport of tennis is you stay out there. You're the person. Like, you may not have a lot of power, but you're willing to just hit one more ball, and you hit another ball, and you hit another, and you wear down your opponent. It's called grinding.
That's funny. My coach in high school, I played high school tennis, and that That's what my coach, he always called me Paint. That's what he called me. He's like, well, my God, boy, you weren't born with all the talent in the world, but you'll stay out there.
Well, I think that a lot of us are like that. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a tiny little person, but, I think my work ethic and, I make up for my inabilities to do other stuff just by the hard work of it. And, that's what you guys are. You're just willing to be the person to hit one more ball than the others. And that's why, that's how people find success. That's how business people find success. You don't have to be perfect at everything you do. You just have to be willing or capable.
Right.
And I think that there's in America, thank God that's what we're about here in America.
Absolutely.
We are willing to just go that extra mile for our neighbor. And, I'm sure that the people we saw at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, they're Kentuckians. They're the same sorts of people as us. And so, I think that's why they found this kind of success.
Yeah,
so that's kind of, I think, what your Grindstone is about, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you probably did a better job defining it than we did, but that's good. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Just 1 foot. I always say 1 foot in front of the other. And any time I've ever been overwhelmed tremendously, and because people like us always tend to take on more than what we can handle at times,
AKA tonight.
Yeah, and I've seen Tammie do it 100 times, but I always see Tammie come out on top, and it's one thing that when I can call Tammie, and Tammie will be like, I can just call her for a pep talk. I can just call her and gripe about everything that I've got to do, knowing everything I got to do is my fault because I said, yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I can, like when I need to, I just stop. I call Tammie, and she's just like, go do it. Just go do it. And
Cody, what question do I always ask you? What's my number one question for Cody when we end our conversation?
Tammie, you're putting me on the spot, but you always... but you asked me several questions.
He doesn't remember her.
No,
Tammie.
you asked.
You
asked me which one are you talking about. Which
you
one
just failed. She ain't gonna tell you the question that you can be. Oh yeah, I know it.
Who you?
Yeah. Well, I always ask.
I'm
Cody,
afraid to answer that question.
Anytime I end our conversations, I always go, "Who loves you the most?"
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Who loves you the most? And I say, Tammie loves me the most.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what he was about to say, Tammie.
Yeah. And I do love you the most, Cody. And I love you, Shane and Jesse. It's been... We had a wild ride on Friday, but by golly, it was a really good ride.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. It was a great time.
And I really... now, Shane's driving, there were some sketchy moments. I think the adrenaline of the day was a little bit too much for him.
Hey, Tammie.
Man, I was off.
Do you know
I was bummed. I was off that night.
Tell everybody.
You were, super excited. What did you say, Cody?
Tell everybody. Obviously, they can go to our YouTube channel, Grindstone YouTube, and watch the video, the highlight video, and these interviews that we did down in Lexington. But tell everybody with the Beacon where they can go and read the stories and check out the interviews and stuff that you guys are going to have. You guys are going to go ahead and print.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the morning, we and I'm so glad to be able to team with the Grindstone for this. But the Greater Ashland Beacon, we're kind of embarking on a brand new path in the morning. You'll be able to go over to www.ashland, ASHLAND, Beacon, that's B as in boy, E, A as in apple, C as in cat, ON.com, ashlandbeacon.com, and you'll be able to watch the videos there. And, of course, the print version, we're just kind of doing a wraparound of media. It's just really great to be able, that I said in my story, there's some stories that the words just aren't enough to describe it. And I think that all of us feel that way. For y'all to see all the great experiences we had, we
in one night.
Video coverage.
In one night.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, the crowd over here wants us to do the Backstreet Boys lean together.
The lean.
The lean, the kind of.
You mean the?
Yeah. Can you do it? Can we do it together?
The one we did like this?
Yes, that's what we want. Oh. Oh.
And the bigger your feet are, the better.
Yeah. If you got big skis. If we had skis on, we could go, woo.
Yes, that's what they wanted. Kid.
I thought you could see Backstreet's back.
Yeah, that.
Oh, that's you? Oh. Okay, well, tell me a little bit. Maybe tell me like a shenanigan. I know. You guys are cousins.
Yep.
Maybe tell me a little bit. You are, right? You like Eastern Kentucky, don't you? You play along. Tell me like a funny, like little time you guys got in trouble as like meanest little boys, as cousins, and maybe you never got caught. And this is your chance to admit it. Did you all get into no good as kids growing up in Kentucky?
Well, me and Brian's older brother Harold used to terrorize him. We'd get in my mom's makeup and put stockings over our face and then put makeup and lipstick all over it and chase him around the house and get in trouble for that.
I was scarred for life.
Then on our farm in Harrodsburg,
we ran around the horse ring.
My brother had a horse ring that he would train his horse on, and it rained real good there one spring, and we all went down there and ran around that track and basically went swimming in the mud. We got in trouble for that.
That's okay.
The thing was is that when we were running around, I was so little that they would run right over me, and it was like
and he was
right in the mud.
Good sound
And by
effects.
the time
Yeah,
I got
that's
up,
good. I know that.
they were around again. It was like, you know, like that. I'm sorry.
Then out on the farm, we play hide and seek and kick the can and all that good stuff over in Harrodsburg, Kentucky.
She's posing for the
I'm posing, bro. Come on. So anyway, at 12 years old, where did you imagine yourself? 12 years old. Look back. What did you want to be when you grew up at that age? Did you imagine this?
Wow, 12 years old, I was playing all-star baseball in Winchester during the summer. I think when he was 13, I know he was teaching himself to play the piano and wanted to be an artist. So fast forward, and here we are.
And we were both singing at weddings and in church, and that's. I think that's.
Faith. About faith and family.
I think that's when the love of music really started hitting us both, and the light kind of clicked on that. Hey, maybe we could do this someday for a living.
God bless you.
But also working hard. Our fathers taught us to work diligently and be professional. And,
that's right.
And that's why we're still here. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm talking to Halfway to Hazard, Chad and Cold, the guy in the camera, that one.
This guy. Hi, I'm David. I'm Chad. This is Tammie. This is Tammie.
Tammie, tell me a little bit about the faces of the kids. I know that charity is so important, so when the instruments arrive, tell me about the kids' faces.
That's what we do, To see the kids' faces and to know you've given them something that they wouldn't have had you not given it to them is unbelievable feeling. It's more of a feeling for us, I think, than it is
It's
for
an
them.
immediate gratification, honestly, because, in the music business, what we do, a lot of times it can take months or years to look back and see what the heck have I been doing with all my time. But when we purchase these instruments and we have them on stage and we do a big reveal and the kids are like, and they freak out, and all the the band directors and the music directors and the principals of the schools come up and they're in tears and they're like, thank you, our band program was on the verge of being shut down and blah blah blah, and you guys saved it. So
it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's a real deal, and I got the chills too.
Stop it.
But it's really cool because we love the gift of music, and then because it was given to us, and so we want to give it back as much as we can too.
So if you could define humanitarian, sounding like we do, like Eastern Kentucky.
They said there would be no hard questions.
We're not going to spell it.
Tell me what that means to you. What is a humanitarian?
Well, I don't know. I don't know for us. I think it's
humanitarian.
Yes, it's people with character, and I think that's what the people that volunteer that have helped us do our festival. I feel like the award should go more to them than us because we get to ride motorcycles and play music, and we work a little hard behind the scenes, spreading hay and stuff. But the volunteers are really the ones that put in the hours and look for the places and pick up the phones.
We're just the faces of it, and if we'll try to say that tonight for sure, because the list would be too long. We'd need a 2-day show just to get through the list of people that we could share this award with when we're on the stage. But but it kind of is representative of the state, I think. Kentucky is known for being a volunteer type state where people give, and we've seen that. We were raised that way, and we just don't know any better, I guess, is the best way to say it.
It's humans being nice to humans, I guess.
We're supposed to do that, aren't we?
I think we
That's
are.
a direct answer.
Be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Be really nice.
Pay it forward.
Exactly.
Paying it forward. If there is a person from back home, down in Prestonsburg, or wherever you people hail from.
What do you mean, you people?
You people?
You people.
Who are some of the people that influenced you to be what you are today?
Chad.
Oh, David was a huge influence on me.
me.
As a child singer, I used to go and watch him play. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
That's what you give her staying by the pool.
That's ridiculous. Right. My mother, I think, was my biggest influence in music. She played piano and I would sing. And
mine too, actually. We both grew up in musical families, so that was obviously right away a huge influence on both of us. And then growing up in Kentucky, goodness gracious, it's all around you.
There's a plethora.
You
of
can't.
people.
You can't get away from it. It's on the radio. It's everywhere. Music is just a part of people's everyday life. And so I grew up with 2 older sisters that listened to a lot of music that was always the center of their world too. So
did I.
Yeah, and he did too. So they really influenced us by what they were listening to at the same time. So.
You guys are awesome.
Well,
you know that, right?
Thank you.
I don't know about awesome.
I'm an awesome report.
Maybe a little
This is
good.
my friend Shane that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
He's got gray hair, right?
No,
That's
Like
not
your
great. I
shadow.
wish I had that hair.
We just got done talking to Tammie.
Yeah.
Tammie summed up her experience, and
She's
as you
awesome.
can see on the videos, she broke it down with the Backstreet Boys. Can you believe that?
She just really, that's what I was saying to her,
Broke it
and
down.
it's true. She just gets people to act differently than they do with everyone else.
Yeah.
It's like, because they're going around there answering questions, and then, she gets them on, and they're like dancing, they're doing their thing,
Yeah, they're really good.
But anyway, so we talked about this great evening, Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, and we ended up, having some awesome conversations, and I thought you had an awesome conversation with Montgomery Gentry.
Montgomery Gentry.
You pushed their UK Wildcat button.
I did.
And they were digging it.
Whenever I first found out that I was going to get a chance to talk to him, the first thing that hit me is these guys grew up. Eddie Montgomery, I believe, grew up in Danville, Kentucky, and Troy Gentry grew up right there in Lexington.
I think Eddie Montgomery, if he didn't grow up in Danville, I think he
Central
lives
Kentucky.
in Danville now.
Gotcha.
He has some affiliation with Danville, Kentucky.
But I knew that these guys were Kentucky boys, and they love, because they got versions of their songs that include Wildcats. That says, when my Wildcats lost, put me in a bad mood, those lyrics. And they also say Bengals, when my Bengals lost, put me in a bad mood. But I knew what I was going to ask him. So whenever the interview first started, as you've seen, I just asked him to kind of explain to me the feeling of coming up and grinding, trying to make it happen. And now, especially with all the good musicians that come from Kentucky, but now they were being inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame at Rupp Arena.
Yeah, that's so for anybody who has never been to Rupp Arena. I don't know do you know what the name of the convention center is? But it's like it's so cool. You got Rupp Arena.
I think it's Lexington Center.
Is it Lexington Center?
I think.
Well, you got Rupp Arena, which is Cody. You
that is
played
the basketball
ball.
capital of the world.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then there's like a mall, and then there's like an awesome food court. There's a convention center. It's pretty awesome,
Right, and it's all attached there
to the Hilton and the Sheraton.
The doors to go into Rupp Arena, where we did these interviews. If you're familiar with Rupp, you walk into Rupp Arena, you walk across Rupp's old floor, all the shopping centers, everything to the right. That's the center. To the left is where you go in with your tickets, and then those doors on the left is where you go in to watch the Wildcats play. That's Rupp Arena's court. But we did it on the opposite side of the hall.
Let's show Cody's. Here we're going to show Cody's picture.
On
the old floor. Yeah. Here we go. So there's Cody's picture. There's Cody faking a hoop.
That's
ate
right.
up with the Wildcats. Oh yeah,
that's right. And that's right there on the old Rupp Arena court. I remember.
Is that what that is? I didn't know what it was.
That's the old centerpiece.
That's
I
cool.
remember because Adolph Rupp was. He was just such a good coach. He changed basketball. He changed the game of basketball. And of course, Rupp's runts.
His name was Adolph.
Yeah, Adolph Rupp.
Wow.
That's what's in Rupp Arena. But I remember when they changed that court while Tubby Smith was the head coach, and they put the UK logo in the front of it, and they took that. It was just that center, and people were mad. They didn't like that, but now people are okay with it. People don't like change.
Yeah.
But
you just went right over my head with that.
I know.
I'm just blown by a dude that you love named Adolph.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to Adolph, man.
Rupp, man. Adolph Rupp, he changed the lives of many people, man. And that he changed that city.
Right.
He put, he did. He changed that city. But basically, the Montgomery Gentry, you could tell that was
right. They were when you said that, like
Eddie instantly went.
So you're about to see it. Yeah. We're about to show it to you. But and I noticed, I was sitting there watching, and you started talking about that. Like it all changed. They were like,
changed.
"Oh yeah, homeboy here.
Yeah.
I like him."
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good time. So you want to set this up? We'll show you guys some clips of Montgomery Gentry.
Yeah, this is just me sitting there with Montgomery Gentry, and it was on the red carpet of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame inductions, and it was great. It was awesome. And just check it out because I think you're going to like what Troy Gentry says.
Oh, so cool.
I think you're going to like it. So we'll go ahead and play it for you guys.
Here you go. You're watching Cody's interview with Montgomery Gentry here on the Grindstone.
That's right.
Here you go.
Okay, guys, we're here with Montgomery Gentry. First off, I'd like to say it's such an honor to meet you guys, especially being from Kentucky. If you could explain to me, you guys being from Kentucky, being from this area, Rupp Arena's right there, and then tonight and just tell me the kind of feeling that gives you guys, the kind of pride and stuff that goes along with being from Kentucky and how many good musicians have came from here.
For me, I think it's cool. It kind of comes full circle. Grew up playing the clubs and the bars around here, playing all around New Circle Road, dreaming of one day playing Rupp Arena. And, we finally had an opportunity and hosted a couple of New Year's Eve shows here and played with a few other artists here at Rupp Arena, and now being inducted to the Hall of Fame here. It kind of brings it back full circle, and it's just the pride of being a part of this, growing up right here for me in Central Kentucky and him just Lexington, him just right outside of here, to be honored with all these greats that have been inducted in the past and that will be inducted tonight. It's just flattering and it's beyond words.
Yeah, it's just it's unbelievable. I know because I know when we was playing the nightclubs here 6 nights a week, 7 nights a week, we was like, man, we can't wait to that one day, man, to play Rupp Arena, man. And then when it comes, it just, it's probably the nervousest I've ever been on stage. When we hit it. So
there's two types of kids. Growing up, you're playing basketball. You dream of playing basketball at Rupp Arena. If you're playing music, it's to have a live concert here. At Rupp.
Exactly. Growing up playing high school basketball, that's how I was. It was I can't wait if I can go to the Sweet 16. I get play on Rupp Arena's court. But real quick, I know you guys got a lot of people to talk to. The one thing, the only other thing I want to ask, there's a lot of people in Kentucky Kentucky seems to produce a lot of good musicians. There's a lot of young talent here, and I'm sure that you've heard them, you've seen them, and you see them around. We have a podcast called The Grindstone, and what we like to give our viewers is simply, when you're grinding it out, when you're going and playing those clubs, and you're not making any leeway sometimes, and then all of a sudden sometimes you do, and then you get pulled back, what advice can you give to these upcomers in Kentucky, especially?
You just got to keep hitting it, man. That's what we did. We just kept going, and you never lose that faith in it, because I know there was a lot of times that people would come say, well, I'll get you, I promise you a record deal, and it never happens,
No, it's tough, and I think a lot of people, especially like he was saying, you just got to stick to the grindstone, and sometimes it takes packing up and moving. Everybody loves being here at home and everything, but every now and then you got to take a risk, whether it be to Nashville, New York, LA, sometimes you got to pick up and move and chase those dreams.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I know you got a lot of people to talk to. Like I said, I'm going to let you go. But hopefully we'll see you guys in Ashland sometime in the future and get to watch you guys play. But big fans. I'm happy to have met you. And, guys, you're watching the Grindstone Podcast with Shane and Cody, me being Cody.
Dude, that is cool.
I know Troy Gentry hit that on the head.
He's like, the Grindstone. I love that. And you know what's funny is I don't think he did it on purpose.
No, he didn't.
It was just like
he didn't.
That organic. Mm-hmm. But, you were asking them about staying, keeping their noses down. I don't think, you didn't say it like that, but we're talking about all this kind of stuff, and it just kind of shows that the podcast and the title of it is that organic that he was just like.
Well, I think that there was a lot that you seen. I think you liked that interview because one thing Eddie was talking about, they played the bars 6 nights a week, there in Lexington, and they played every night. And you're talking for a long time,
right?
And those guys stayed together, and you can only imagine what they went through, at doing that. And so you look at, I know you're at it, you're getting at it, and that's what Eddie said. He's like, Eddie was like, that's the most nervous I've ever been, playing at Rupp, and he was, and so that shows he's real. Here he is, that man never would have to work another day in his life if he chose, and he was nervous.
Yeah,
being in front of his people, the people in his home.
That meant a lot to him. That was cool.
Yeah,
that's
and,
cool.
And then not just that, but he talked about how people come offered him a record deal and it didn't happen, and nothing ever happens. Yada yada yada, and it just shows you. They grinded and grinded and grinded. Now imagine this: 4 years before they got that record deal, they were probably right in their prime, playing gigs like that, really good, spot on, used to it, in the flow. Yeah. What if they would have quit?
I know what you mean. Yeah,
what if they would have quit?
Got a good job elsewhere or something like that.
Yeah. What if they would have quit?
I know.
Country music world would have changed.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Yeah.
It's all about that grindstone.
It is.
It's all about that grindstone.
Man, we had so many. We had such a good conversation with Tammie, man. We just rolled with it. We got so many good people to share with you guys. So much good stuff.
I think Clarence.
They were awesome.
I think Clarence Spalding is an interview we need to show next. I think we need to show that interview with you because he said something really. The number one thing that stuck out to me, besides Eddie instantly laughing, throwing his head back, and I knew he was going back to playing Rupp Arena when I said that.
Yep.
I knew he was going back, and he was replaying that in his head. But Clarence said, it's not always he started it with, it's not always the smartest or the most talented that makes it and becomes, that is what everyone calls making it.
Right.
And then he proceeded to go into, and that was, his answer was just amazing.
Oh, man. For all the viewers, in case, you forgot from the beginning of the podcast when we were kind of setting it up. So Clarence Spalding is the
man in Nashville.
Oh, my gosh. He is, just to play it safely, you could easily say he's one of the biggest guys in Nashville. But I would venture to say he might be the biggest music manager in Nashville. I would say he most likely is. This guy has... basically a management team with the monsters of all kinds of different genres.
Different genres.
You're talking about the manager for Madonna and Lil Wayne and of course him that has Jason Aldean and Rascal Flatts. This guy's huge anyway. So I got to talk to him and it was so humbling. I was scared to death. but it's weird. I was calm.
I could tell because I know you.
Yeah.
I know you and I've seen you be around people.
It's I was nervous, but it was so weird because I think I was so calm because more than being nervous, I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, how many times in your life do you get to sit and talk to a man like that? Oh, yeah. When you're in the music, it's this guy.
A lot of people that don't know, too, he's part of Exile.
He was their road manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, you'll see. We'll just show him a couple things. Here you're about to see in this clip, he talks about how he started off booking bands. He wanted to be in the music industry, but basically he didn't know how.
Yeah.
So he ends up booking bands, ends up becoming road manager for Exile, and then, before you know it, this guy's one of the top guys in Nashville. He said a lot of cool stuff that interests me. Obviously one thing I had to ask him, you're about to see, I wanted to know, do you have to move out of town? I think you guys will find his answer to that interesting, and I think it's not a set answer. I kind of think it depends.
Right.
Based on what he said, it depends on your situation. But anyway, without further ado, here's my conversation with Clarence Spalding. Yeah, one of the monsters in Nashville.
That's right.
Here you go on the Grindstone Podcast, Clarence Spalding. You're watching the Grindstone Podcast with Shane and Cody. We're here with Clarence Spalding. It's a great honor to be with you today. Truly, you've been one of the guests I've been most excited to talk about as an aspiring musician. Somebody like you is just so great to be able to have a conversation with. First of all, congratulations on tonight, and we wanted to ask you, what are you most excited about tonight?
Well, I'm not excited about getting up, okay? I'll tell you that. It's not my thing, but, my family will be there, so it's a good night for them. So it's, I'm more excited for my mom than I am for me, so I think it'll be a good night for her.
Absolutely. You said something interesting that, you kind of are excited about this for your family. As a musician myself, and Cody, as a guy in the industry on the video side, you spend so much time working, and, you sacrifice a lot, and a big part of that is family. So it's neat that you kind of acknowledge that family does that. What is the balance between your work and your business and your family?
Well, in the beginning, there's none. In the beginning, when I was on the road with Exile, that's what we did, and that was my job. And it just feels like, the more successful I got, the more boundaries I was able to put up. But it's still, the music business is a tough business, and it's not all limos and award shows. So, but it's, my kids grew up in it, and my wife, we dated 8 years before we got married, and we've been married 30 years. So it's not as if she came in late and, tried to figure out what I was doing. She was there all along. So they sacrifice a lot, and but it's been a fun ride for all of us, and I try to include them as much as I possibly can, and the fun things, and the crap things I keep them away from.
Right. So tonight you have the great honor of being inducted, but so many great people go through entire careers and never really get recognition that I guess you might say they deserve, or that some other people get. We like to talk about the grindstone and keep your nose to the grind, and you do it because you love it, and you keep grinding, you're trying to achieve success. So what is your advice to people who are struggling and may not be immediately achieving success, and they may not even see even a small light, but what's your advice to people who are trying to achieve success and are struggling to keep their morale high?
Well, I would say to them, look at anybody who they would perceive as making it, and making it's a relative term, but those of us who have, been lucky enough to be successful, we hit those periods too. I mean, there were many, many years on that bus with Exile. I thought I was in prison. I mean, and that's not a joke. I mean, I looked out and there was 12 or 13 of us on one bus, and we were playing, the Fuzzy Duck in Gadsden, Alabama, and you're thinking, is this what I want to do? I remember, and we were talking about family. There was an Easter when my daughter was 2 years old, and we were playing the biggest flea market in the world in South Florida. And I remember getting up on the bus and saying, I will never, ever do this again. So if you guys want to book Easter ever again, fire my ass. They looked at me like we didn't want to do it either.
So you're all in agreement.
We have kids too, right? Yeah, but it was one of the toughest times, because I called home and my daughter, who's 27 now, they were doing the things that kids do on Easter, and I'm down, at a flea market going, I'm in hell with my back broke, Gosh almighty. Yeah. So, I would just say, listen, we've all had our tough spurts, and it's never, I don't think that it's always the smartest guy and the most talented guy that makes it. I really think it's a lot of times it's the most tenacious, who can hang in there. It'd been so easy for me to quit so many times, and I think that's what happens. I think some of those people, they just quit. They quit dreaming, and they quit, something happens and they decide I can't do this anymore. And listen, I thought that a lot of times. I mean, I interviewed with Tyson Chicken one time. I thought, I guess I'd rather stack chicken in Kroger's than be out here on the road, but my wife talked me out of that. So
That's my wife here. This beautiful lady, and she does that all the time. I feel like a lot of times a great woman is so crucial because when we want to quit, they say keep going.
Yeah, so there was a lot of, we moved and from here to Nashville, and I struggled with that decision, and she said, listen, let's take a shot. Let's go for it and see what happens. And all of a sudden there I was with Brooks and Dunn, and who would have known, 20 years later.
I know, again, a big fan of yours. I know you not as an artist, but as a businessman, really. I've read a lot about you and the fact that you didn't always live in Nashville. And so I feel like a really important question. You delayed a while in moving to Nashville. And I think a question that I always wonder, and a lot of people always wonder, is how much success can you achieve in your hometown, or do you feel that it is pretty crucial to uproot yourself, possibly uproot your family, and move to a major music city, or I guess a city that's conducive to your industry? Should you do that? Must you do it? And if so, when do you know it's the right time?
Well, I think there's, if you're an artist, and you're having a little success, probably not. A lot of artists in Nashville and LA, New York, they were based there, don't actually live there. But I think for my business, the management business, in order for me to, swim in the pond with the big boys, I had to go down to Nashville. It was where I was going to be around very successful managers who could teach me a lot. And, I might have stayed here and been, a big fish. But would I've ever made that? And that's a great question, because I think in regard to your previous question, people hit that spot in their career and they wonder why. And I go, well, there's that time in your life when you're looking in the mirror and you go, I got to do something else. And you can just continue doing what you're doing. And 10 years later, I could have been the tour manager for Exile 10 years later, and is that what I wanted to do? No. So you just take a chance and believe in yourself.
Thanks for that. I know you have a lot of people to talk to. I wanted to thank you. Is there anything else you would like to share for people, I guess, who just need a little pep talk for today? What do you wake up in the morning, and what's your mantra to keep you going and keep you motivated on a daily basis?
I love what I do, so I don't have to do that. And even in the bad times, as they were, I look back on. They weren't so bad because I love what I was doing. And so, I always go, if you're passionate about it, you'll love getting up in the morning and doing it. Doesn't mean it's not hard. There are days my job is just, crappy. But it's okay. I love doing it, and I know tomorrow's going to be better. So, I wake up, I know I'm the luckiest guy in the damn world. And I look around this room and I go, I just snuck in the damn back door and happened to be here and have a suit. So, right? These guys are looking around going, who the hell is that? Well, who is he? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, we're here with Clarence Spalding. It's such an honor to have him on the Grindstone Podcast. And again, as an aspiring musician, I appreciate your time, and the world of congratulations to you, and a world of congratulations to your family for supporting you all these years to get to this point.
Good luck to you guys.
Man, that was awesome, wasn't it?
That was great.
One of the things I loved about that too, and
he's a character.
Oh yeah,
he's a funny guy.
I like him.
Yeah,
I mean, it was cool, man. He was so nice, and we were talking with Tammie about just being real and how these guys who are monsters, I think, okay, you take a guy like Clarence, and you think of how many people have tried to contact him, and he don't have time to talk to them. But, I sincerely think, I may never talk to that guy again in my life. But I sincerely think that, he's a real dude. He's a real guy. But you know what? He don't have time for probably a lot of conversations he would love to have, just because he's got his nose to the grindstone.
You know what told me he was real? When you asked him, how do you balance that with your family and your work and your passion and stuff? And he said
he didn't candy coat it.
Instantly, he said, "Well, in the beginning, you don't."
Right.
And he stared at you like,
Yeah.
get ready.
Yeah.
Like I could sense that,
Yeah,
like you don't. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And that's something.
He didn't candy coat anything.
No,
he wasn't like, oh, you bow, you gotta. No, you're right. He was just like, nobody wants that answer.
No.
There is no balance. But you're right. He has said it. You could tell from the interview he's real. He's real. Man, it was such an honor. That guy is so knowledgeable. I loved how he said, there just isn't a balance. He's just real about it. You're a young young person that's hungry, and you just go after it. But I also did love how he acknowledged on, perhaps one of the most special moments of his life, being inducted to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. He's talking about how it was an accomplishment, not only for him, and I love that because I would like to think I'd be graceful enough to still acknowledge all that kind of stuff, even at that kind of point in my life.
Hey, there's your dogs.
I know. Yeah, they run the roost.
I know. I wish we get Chap on the podcast.
I'll get Chap on the
podcast. Come here, Chap. Come here, Chap. This is Chap. This is Chap. And there's the other one, the female. Hey, what's up, man?
All right.
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Chap?
No, but I think that he's so cool because I think I'd like to be think I'd be as graceful as him, to acknowledge, I was like, talking about that and what it means to him, and he was talking about how it's a huge accomplishment not only for him but also for his family, because he, obviously you guys just saw he was talking about how it's hard and you're away from people and that kind of thing.
I'll tell you one thing that you can look at too is how real he is. You look at how real he is, and he's not sugarcoating anything. So the people that he's managing, obviously that's going to rub off.
Oh yeah,
and I'm glad that there's people like that that's out there.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad that there's people like that that's out there that's able to do something like that to help. Hey, that's as real as it gets. You want to know what just happened?
Right.
There's two. This is Boston Terriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those dogs.
I have two tiny dogs that are
and currently Jesse
down.
right now is trying to get them to calm down, but they are ready to rock and roll.
I have two little dogs that are like throwing down, doggy version of like bat duking it out.
They are. They're running circles around your house.
Man,
it's great.
I don't know what else to say. Here's I think why I'm struggling right now is because I want to keep talking about Clarence Spalding and Montgomery Gentry and all these guys, Backstreet Boys, but interviews speak for themselves, I guess. But I just want to talk about them. Yeah. It was a good time. It was good people. And it was, and it was so cool.
No, I get.
Not only did we talk to them, we talked to them on such an important night to them.
I know.
It was cool. It was just good vibes.
Because that's what I'm saying. That night, no matter what, they're from Kentucky. So to be inducted into that Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And especially, most of them are happy with it being Rupp Arena. That's just crazy. They're in a good mood, and they're happy, and this is coming full circle for them, and that's what almost every single one of them said.
Yeah,
coming full circle. But I'll tell you, obviously you can go to our YouTube channel and check those videos out. But the overall experience was great, and obviously we learned from it.
Yeah, and we also have a few more people we got to hang out with. There's not enough time for everybody, but on one show. But also make sure you guys know that we got like an amazing songwriter, amazing guy in the music industry, Larry Cordell, who will actually be on the show.
Yes,
very soon. So he's another guest who is there.
He has confirmed
getting inducted. Yeah, he'll be on the show live and in person. I think.
Tammie always.
Do you think he's coming in, or are you going to phone in?
I don't know.
I hope he comes in. That'd be cool.
That would be cool if he came in. I don't know how busy he's really busy, but it's like Larry Cordell, for example. This is what's so great about what we're doing and what we're on the path of doing, and why we get. I feel like we're lucky that we're built this way, that our minds work this way, because somebody like Larry Cordell, you ask, everybody knows who Willie Robertson is, but does everybody know who Larry is? Well, no, but once you understand who Larry is and what he did in the time that he did it, he made history.
Oh yeah, he was a great
music.
Songwriter. Yeah,
and he was in an important time for a transition time for music, and not only that, he's from Eastern Kentucky, right down the road from Ricky Skaggs, and it's just amazing to see. Okay, he started this back when he was very young.
Yeah,
and look where he's at today.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And
I can't wait to have him on.
He's still grinding it out and doing it.
And I can't wait to hear him tell those stories about,
he's got some stories.
That guy's a cool guy.
That guy is a cool guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think, what's the overview of today. I mean, I think you look at all these people and they were all so real. I mean, you look at Tammie, who we were there with, but great. You consider her a guest on the show. So Tammie, you look at the Kevin and Brian from the Backstreet Boys. You look at them, Montgomery Gentry, Eddie,
it's just
and
a
Troy.
meeting of the minds.
You look at all those people, and the common denominator is they all, all of them were
grinded
working
out
and working and working. So I know it sounds cliche, but I think that's the basic first synopsis.
Exactly.
Of episode 1 is
I think
whatever you're doing.
I think if we want to bring episode 1 to full circle, I think the best way to do it is that we went into a single room during a night that was honoring the people that were on one side of the rope, and the people on the other side of the rope are continuing to work to be on that other side. And we were able to speak and gain knowledge from the people who were being honored.
Yeah,
that to me, just whenever you sit back and think of it, I'm a big fan and you are who you surround yourself with. And if you don't surround yourself with good company, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not, and it's.
Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm not telling you that if you got friends that are idiots, that you can't hang out with them. But what I am saying is that if you have a goal and when you want it as bad as you want to breathe,
that's true.
Yeah, then you need to decide who you want in your life, because ultimately you have that choice.
Well, you're talking about good company.
Yes.
I think the proof in that is there's no way to leave from the Hall of Fame. There's no way to leave from that night and not be ready to go do something.
Exactly.
Because you're with all those people who are constantly doing something.
Exactly.
Even still, and I highly doubt any of those guys are kicking back and relaxing. I think they're all still.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what's got them to where they are. It's just that hunger.
And that never leaves. I don't think
myself,
and I don't think I'll ever be satisfied.
No.
People tell me all the time I got too many irons in the fire, and I'm just like, I want to make that fire bigger.
Yeah, man. I think it's just, it's not actually about the destination. It's about the travel.
Exactly.
It's about the trip. You know what? I don't think there's any better way to end episode 1
of the Grindstone
Podcast. Speaking of good people and good character, I think this blew everybody's minds. We'll show you one last clip to end it, and you won't even see us. We'll just say goodbye on this note. But we're there. We met all kinds of amazing people get inducted to the Country Music Hall of Fame, or the Kentucky Hall of Fame. But you got the Backstreet Boys, Montgomery Gentry, Larry Cordell, Clarence Spalding, and others. And we met Halfway to Hazard, who were awesome.
Oh yeah, great
Did a killer performance.
Great guys, and their publicist Amanda is amazing.
She was amazing. Big shout out to Amanda, who basically had a huge hand in that event.
Yes,
she did so good, and we're sorry that we took too much time every now and then. But we apologize. But yeah, no. So it was amazing because we're there and we were with the Backstreet Boys, and during our conversation with the Backstreet Boys, I have a friend. Two friends, a mother and daughter, and the daughter, Allie. Who's actually roughly my age, give or take, a couple of years.
And I played basketball with her brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Allie is struggling with kidney disease, and I'm sporting her Team Allie bracelet all the time. So she's got kidney disease, and she's, as with half of the female population, a massive, heart attack Backstreet Boys fan. And she grew up wanting to marry Brian.
Yeah.
And so lo and behold, I tell Brian that. I said, "Hey, buddy, I got a friend who, I think you'd brighten her day. Would you care to, let's text her some
encouraging words?
Yeah, let's text her something, brighten her day." And you know what?
He did one better.
Oh my gosh.
He couldn't have played that anymore.
But you know what? In all seriousness, you look at that and you look at people who. There's no way to be on the grindstone every day on a daily basis unless your heart and mind's in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Brian, and you're about to see this video. It just shows an unbelievable person. He's so cool. And as soon as it went down, as you'll be able to see from the video, I started this video with Brian, and he takes over. And before you know it, all the photographers and press that was there snapping pictures can't believe what he's doing.
They couldn't believe what he was doing.
It's so cool. Anyway. So we're saying goodbye on the first episode of the Grindstone Podcast with Shane and Cody. We're going to take you out here with a video of Brian Luttrell sending a very special video to my friend Allie. Some encouraging words that I know put a smile on her face. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
So, Allie, I'm here at the Kentucky Hall of Fame. I told you I'd try to get them, but I couldn't access them.
Hey, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm not sure who that guy is, but listen, we love you. Wanted to say, stay strong, be strong. I know you already are. Thank you so much for everything you do. And, I'm going to give you back to this strange dude. See ya.
Hey, thanks. Allie, they love you.
Yeah, see.
Hey, that was so cool. Thank you.